Am I the a-hole for wanting to meet my daughter after giving up my parental rights? Plus update. Original post. Long story short, in my 40 female 20s, I had a one-night stand with this guy, Nathan, now 41 male, and got pregnant. I first thought of terminating, but Nathan had come from a conservative religious background, not Christian, and wanted a baby. So we made a deal. I would give birth to the child and sign away my parental rights, that my name is not even in her birth certificate as is possible in my country, and he would pay all the medical expenses plus some extra for my troubles. And that's what we did. I didn't keep contact after his daughter was born. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine who has the same religion as Nathan sent me a post from her temple's youth group. They were asking for donations for the homeless, and one of the girls from the picture looked a lot like me. I searched for her profile and found out that she had Nathan's surname and had the right age to be the baby I gave away. She's 17 now and seems to be doing fine. She's involved in charity work, apparently loves music, and has lots of pictures with friends and family. Nathan, his wife, and half-siblings. I never wanted nor want to be a mother, but I became curious to know more about this human I put in the world. So I texted Nathan's old phone number, which he has not changed, and asked if he would allow me to meet his daughter, since I gave birth to her and everything. It made my intentions clear, that I do not want to interfere with his family, just to know her. He then wrote a long text, which comes down to saying that I'm an a-hole for wanting to know his daughter now after I abandoned her, and that this meeting would only mess with her head. I told him I was telling him out of courtesy, because soon the girl will be an adult and be able to choose herself if she wants to meet me. He then blocked me. Am I being the a-hole here? I don't think there's any harm in meeting my daughter. She already has a great family, and it would only be beneficial to her to know about her own history. But maybe I am not seeing the full picture. Now for the top comments before reading the update. So you didn't want her then, you don't want her now, but you're curious to see how she turned out? You're the a-hole. You have no desire to be in her life, but want to meet her. Do you not think that would be upsetting to meet the woman who gave you away and learn she still doesn't care about you? Leave her alone. The loveless curiosity is what makes OP the a-hole. No thought to how disruptive her presence will be. Agreed times 10 million. She wants nothing to do with this child. She just wants to talk her out of curiosity. How horrifying would it be for the person who birthed you to come out of nowhere and when asked why they say just curious, only to once again disappear into the night? Her dad is right. She's just doing this to mess with her head. It's so selfish. Honestly, I think you're the a-hole. You decided not to be in your child's life. It is not fair for you to now force yourself back into it because you want to. A more appropriate course of action would have been to reach out to provide current contact information and let him know that if she was ever interested in getting to know you, that's something you are open to. It should be her choice, not yours. Actually, I like the idea. I don't want to force myself in her life, just to know how she turned out, and maybe she has some questions for me. But you are right, it should be her choice. Just be aware that you have absolutely no right to have any opinions about how she's turned out. And be careful not to express any disappointment in her choices or involvement in her religion. As long as she's happy and healthy, that's all you can have concern for, as far as how she's turned out. It's great you want to know how it's going with her, but be careful and be sure to keep your opinions to yourself. Now for the update. Hi everyone. First of all, thank you for your judgment. Some of you were pretty harsh and a bit misogynistic, to be honest, but I needed to hear what the well-intentioned comments had to say. Some answers to common assumptions. 1. I wasn't coerced into giving birth. Nathan and I reached an agreement in a situation that involved us both. I'll admit that I was young, didn't know what pregnancy was really like, and needed the money, which I'm not proud of, but hey, y'all are gonna judge me anyway. 2. I didn't want to reach out to Nathan's daughter just because she looks like me. I only mentioned it because this is what made me realize that the girl in the picture was the child I gave birth to, but it blew out of proportion. 3. I don't know why some people assumed Nathan is Christian, and why they were judging him for being religious. He is Jewish and I'm agnostic myself, but don't think it's a problem for him to have a strong bond with his religion. The one-night stand happened when we were very young, and I don't know what his views are about that, but it doesn't matter. His daughter apparently is very attached to their community, and it's important to her. Also, I might have used the word temple wrong, but I'm not Jewish myself. 4. When I said I don't want to be a mother, I didn't mean I didn't want a relationship with Nathan's daughter. I am not her mother, since I didn't raise and don't want to take this place from the person who truly did, his wife. I also chose not to have children of my own. So after reading their comments, I came to a better understanding of what my role is in this situation and decided to reach out to his wife through social media to try to make amends. She was very understanding and explained to me that Nathan had a couple of tough years being a single dad before meeting her, and me coming back like that made it seem, as some of you pointed out, that I wanted to skip the hard parts and become a parent out of nowhere, which was never my intention. They told their daughter that her birth mother had to go back to her home country and couldn't take care of her, which was kind. The wife is going to talk to Nathan to leave the door open if their daughter wants to meet me when she's older. But I gave her all my contact information for when and if the time comes. I'll admit I was being a bit selfish here, so that is the best thing I could hope for. Thank you again. It's a tough one, because I understand changing your mind and wanting to know your child. But the father is right that this could create a lot of issues for the daughter. Considering OP1 didn't even know what they told the girl about her birth mother. Did she even know her father's wife wasn't her birth mother? And 2, the fact OP basically threatened the father to contact her daughter when she was a legal adult suggests OP was never worried about her daughter and was just focused on her own selfish needs/wants. I'm an adoptive mom, and all the training tells us this has to be the kid's decision. Some don't care, some care deeply. This kid is 17. It should be her choice. I think it's important that she didn't reach out to the girl, but instead contacted the girl's father. When that wasn't the result she wanted, she reached out to the girl's mother. Instead of being demanding, OP just passed along the intention for contact and contact info for if/when she wanted to reach out to her bio mom. Feels like OP was being kind of selfish at first, maybe still is. Not that she needed to be a mother figure, but that she's ready to spring into this person's life without considering the consequences of that. True, info about potential health history and perhaps limited extended family could be helpful. But if the daughter hasn't expressed interest, feels kind of self-serving and icky, like she thinks she has any kind of right to know this person. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my husband move his father into our home? My husband's 40 male mom passed away late last year. It was very hard on him and his father. The holidays were rough. My husband is still struggling, and I've been doing my best to be kind, supportive, and understanding. But he's been less attentive with our 3 kids, 14 female, 12 male, and 9 male. And I'm pretty sure he's struggling at work too, but he won't admit it. He started therapy about a month ago and is going once a week. A couple weeks ago, he brought up to me that he wants to move his dad, 75 male, into our house. He said that his dad is struggling too, and that being in the house he shared with his wife the past 50 years isn't doing him any good. He had an entire plan laid out, so it was obvious to me that he has been planning this for a while without talking to me about it. He wants to move his dad into the room that we had just moved our middle child into last summer. Before that, our 2 youngest were sharing a room, so we did some renovations to make an extra bedroom so all our kids could have their own space. He wants to force our 2 youngest to share a room again so his dad can move in. He also wants to talk to his dad about putting their house on the market, or possibly renting it out, which means father-in-law would be here long term. After he laid out his plan, he asked me what I thought, and I told him my immediate reaction is no. I told him that barely any time has passed since his mom's death, and it's too soon to make such drastic changes in everyone's lives. I told him his dad will get better with time, and we all just need to take a step back and not rush into any decisions. He was not happy with my response and kept asking for specific reasons other than not enough time has passed. I suggested that we look into different housing options for his dad if he's uncomfortable in his home, which I get. His dad has enough money saved to afford a good retirement home or a smaller condo which would allow everyone to still have their own space. He didn't like that idea either because it would mean his dad is still living alone. I'll admit, there are reasons I didn't tell him. Seeing my husband deal with his grief has been hard, especially since it's affecting his ability to be present with me and the kids. So I really don't want a second grieving man in our house. I also don't really want to kick our middle child out of the room that we just made specifically for them. That isn't fair to them. But I know if I tell my husband this, he's going to think I'm being selfish. And maybe I am. Father-in-law currently lives about 3 hours away, so visiting him is difficult. We also live in a pretty rural area, and the nearest town with respectable retirement homes is over an hour away. So even that option isn't ideally close, but it's still closer. I know it sounds selfish, but I just don't think I could handle 2 grieving men in my home. I can barely handle 1 right now. Now for the comments. I cannot believe anyone is saying you're the a-hole to not wanting your father-in-law to move in permanently. We don't even know he would want that. Living with someone, never mind pushing your kids back into sharing a room indefinitely, is a big deal. Hard not the a-hole. I think you all having a discussion about him selling up and buying a smaller place nearby is a better option. Maybe look into a tiny home or trailer for him to put on the property. Since you're rural, his own space but right there. Plus, if you don't flood, it could be a step or two and then it'll be one story. Perfect for elderly. I completely agree with you, not the a-hole. A compromise needs to be had here. No, I respectfully disagree. This seems like it could be a solution at face value, but this is really unrealistic. He might sleep in the tiny house, but he will for sure spend his waking hours in Opie's home, and this proposed situation would invite a permanence to his residency there. This is totally unfair to Opie. We agree in judgment, not the a-hole, but this is not a true compromise, because while the kids won't have to share a room, Opie is clear that her primary reason for saying no to father-in-law coming is because she can't handle the responsibility for having an additional adult, who is also racked with grief permanently in her space, which is a reasonable position to take. Getting father-in-law into a retirement community with other seniors, many of whom are often widowed themselves, seems like a far better solution for everyone, especially father-in-law. These types of communities can be very beneficial for older folk, who can be independent but also need active engagement with others. Since finances don't seem to be a major factor, any additional support with meals, housekeeping, laundry, etc. can easily be had. Let's hope they can do something like this. An hour away isn't terribly far. Dedicating frequent scheduled visits will still be far less time and effort than having an additional adult to care for every day, and could actually be far better to father-in-law, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. It's not selfish to want your soon-to-be teen son to have his own room. Find an apartment near your home. Move dad there. Have him over to visit a few times a week. There are plenty of ways to solve this that don't involve packing your house full of people and appending your family life. This is the answer. Move dad closer, but it should be a one-level apartment with a cleaner coming once a week. Opie is already dealing with a lot. Handling 3 kids and a struggling husband is no small feat. Given my experience with older boomer men, I am guessing that the workload of having him there will fall on Opie too. Extra laundry, cleaning, and another mouth to feed. Not the a-hole. The house belongs to you too, and it is the boys' home. It's definitely not fair to the kids to give away their space and make them share a bathroom with an old man, even if he is their grandfather, without their input. My father-in-law died 2.5 years ago, and my mother-in-law spent about 5 to 6 months of that time visiting us in our house. She sold the house she bought in 2021 and is with us again temporarily. It's not easy. It has nothing to do with grief, and we are empty nesters with a spare bedroom. Mother-in-law has an offer on a house about 30 minutes away and should be moving out next month. We plan and hope to visit her at least a couple times a week, but that's not 24/7. I would highly recommend your father-in-law sell his house and get a small home or condo near to you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not sharing my son's birthday cake? My 30 female son's 8 male birthday was 2 weeks ago. He wanted a pistachio cake, but nobody in our family likes it. So I agreed with him that the biggest cake that would be at a party would be a chocolate cake, while he would have a pistachio cake saved in the freezer just for him. The party took place in our backyard. The whole family was there, and the kids had a great time. We sang happy birthday to my son and went to cut the cake. While my mother-in-law and husband distributed the cake slices, I took my son inside and cut a big slice of his cake so he could eat it. The cake I'd bought for him was the size of a bento cake, so it would be enough for a toddler. When we left, my sister-in-law, who is also a mother, looked at my son's plate and saw that his cake was different. She was surprised and asked where this other cake was, because she and her daughter wanted to taste it. I replied saying that I couldn't share, because this cake was just for my son as he doesn't like chocolate. She called me selfish for denying her and her daughter a slice, and after that, she commented to everyone at the party that I had another cake hidden at home. Many people ignored it, but some were curious and asked me why I didn't share the other cake. I explained the situation until they kept calling me selfish. My husband and my mother-in-law told me I didn't do anything wrong as I was resolving a situation with my son. But I'm still in doubt if I'm really right or I was an a-hole. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I'm honestly having a hard time wrapping my head around adults demanding to eat a child's birthday cake at his own party. I'm absolutely with you on this one. I can't fathom being sulky in this situation. Not the a-hole. Next time, just get a cake your son likes and makes everyone have that cake. Then they can get angry not having a cake they like. And you can say it's your son's birthday and he picked the cake. So go away, you a-holes. Your friends and sister-in-law sounds like pieces of work to demand your son's small birthday cake for himself. Yes, share the cake your kid likes. It will eventually become a tradition and more memorable than a boring chocolate cake. I still remember my wife's uncle busting out this horrible lemon cake that everyone hated after every Easter. It would be the butt of all jokes, but we also all ate it. Lol. Can you imagine being a grown adult and getting angry that you're being denied a second type of cake at a child's birthday? Not the a-hole. If you're really trying to be an entitled person, this is probably the best way to do it. Either that or a narcissist. I have people in my life like this. They have to be involved in everything, no matter what it is. You could be hiding turd sandwiches in the kitchen, but they'd want one just because.